In this video, I'm going to talk about the new talents that became visible in the most recent updates. These were actually just talents that were always happening. It was just kind of happening in the background. You couldn't see it. But these are extra damage resistance and shield damage resistance. So how these work, and I've talked about extra damage resistance in an earlier video, but both of these two talents on the just your defensive talent page, they can't be upgraded directly from this page. The way you unlock them and upgrade them is actually through the Tower of Elements, which I cover in separate videos, but they are exclusively available there. And then that's how once you upgrade those, then they'll actually show up here. So the extra damage resistance is your final damage. So how it works is just it factors in your regular damage resistance. So right now I have 75% damage resistance, but it takes your enemy's attack and then multiplies it by 1 minus your regular damage resistance, and then multiplies that by 1 minus your extra damage resistance. So it is just an extra layer. So anytime you get extra damage resistance through the Tower of Elements, it's just going to add another layer of damage resistance. It doesn't add directly onto your damage resistance. So I have 6% extra damage resistance. It wouldn't act as if I had 81% damage resistance. It would just take 75, so essentially I'd be taking 25% of the damage, and then I would be taking like 94% of that damage number, just based on how much extra damage resistance I have. And then for the shield damage resistance, there is one specific upgrade within the Tower of Elements that gives you this. I'll talk about that in just a second as well, but it goes through that same calculation where it takes the enemy's attack, then multiplies by 1 minus damage resistance times 1 minus your extra damage resistance times 1 minus your shield damage resistance. Now this only applies to your shield when the enemy's attacking your shield, but it just makes your shield last a lot longer. It really goes well, just along well with all the shield HP upgrades you can get in the game. So if I go over to the Tower of Elements, and then I'm going to show, so for my water element, the upgrade to get that shield damage resistance is going to be up here, where that shield damage resistance, your shields gain an extra 40% damage resistance. So if you actually don't have this selected, say I went for the Blood Curse instead of this middle one, you won't see that shield damage resistance talent within your tower or within your talents page. So you have to have it unlocked here within the Tower of Elements for that to even show up. And then we have, if I go up and scroll and find, here's the extra damage resistance upgrade. Once again, if you don't have any of these unlocked, you actually won't see it. So for instance, like the Fire Slime, none of the Tower of Elements upgrades for the Fire Slime give extra damage resistance. So if I go and select Volcanion, and he doesn't have any just passive upgrades that give him extra damage resistance or anything. So if I go back to my defensive talent page, I actually won't see that extra damage resistance. I will still see the shield damage resistance because I did get that upgrade within the Tower of Elements. But yeah, if it's something that if you don't have it unlocked, you're actually not going to see it. But kind of nice. These have always been in effect, and if you've gotten the upgrade, you've been getting the benefit from it mechanically. But this is just a nice way to actually see it up front and be able to kind of see more of the numbers as far as what's going on. But thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions.